4K. Okay, well, you just ruined the purpose of the clapper, because now I'm gonna have 3 clappers that I have to...
Hello, welcome back to Twins Reviews. Today we are reviewing the Andycine C7 Daylight Viewable Touchscreen Monitor. Let's jump into it.
Alright, let's unbox this. The Andycine C7 4K monitor. It does not show 4K, however, it does have an HDMI input of 4K, so I mean there's that. You get the carrying case, which I still use. It does well to protect the monitor. You get the battery and 2 HDMIs. One is HDMI to mini and HDMI to micro, as well as the charging station and this mount, which is pretty good, but I feel like it builds up a lot of bulk, so I just use some smaller ones. And of course you get the monitor. The monitor has an SD input, so you can put in LUTs. It also has an aux input, so you can listen in headphones. Has these 2 battery slots, HDMI in, HDMI out, and power. So pretty cool stuff, has a lot to offer.
Alright, so before we jump into the review, I just want to say if you enjoy or like our videos, make sure to hit that like button down below. You can also subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell and click all so you get all the notifications. And also, if you want to check us out on Twitch, you can so down below, and we got an Instagram and a website down there as well. So let's jump into the review.
Alright, so the Andycine C7, this is actually my first ever field monitor that I got, and I've been using it for around 6, maybe even more months now. So I've put this through the test through pretty much every single condition that you could possibly think of, and there's some good things about it, there's some bad things about it, and all of the products that we'll talk about, because there's like external batteries and stuff, will be down in the description. You can have a look at all of the things that we talk about. And the monitor itself runs around $270 at the moment, so it's like mid-tier. It's not too expensive, but like for field monitors, that is, but also not the cheapest one that you can get.
Yeah, you do have to think that this is an investment for you if you're a camera person and you're really into camera, or maybe you make money, maybe it's a side hustle that you do. Then you have to understand that this is something that is an investment. It's $270, and while he says that, you know, that's mid for these type of monitors, that's still not cheap. $270 is still a lot. I would like to mention that we used this exact monitor when we filmed our Star Wars fan film, which if you haven't seen, we're gonna link, and we used that for, I think, most, if not all, of the scenes in that film, in that fan film, and I think it was pretty good. The one thing that I think really makes it kind of a bad thing about it is the fact that the battery runs out very quick. I don't know, it runs out in like 3-4 hours, which isn't enough time for, you know, for a shoot. So you're definitely gonna want to carry some extra batteries with you if you don't want the trouble of it running out and then you can't use it anymore.
That's right, this monitor is actually like classified as a very bright monitor. There's a scale of which these type of monitors are scaled on brightness, and this one goes up to 2200 nits, which is pretty much how bright it is, and that is insane. Like that is more than you'll ever need. And even in the brightest scenarios, this is so bright, like it's insane. The 2200 nits is definitely, you don't need to go over, so if you're thinking about getting your first monitor, you don't even need to consider that number at all. Now, this monitor is also the 7-inch monitors. There's usually 2 different comparisons that people make, the 5-inch monitors and the 7-inch monitors, which are slightly larger, and that is something to keep in mind when purchasing one of these. This is a pretty large monitor, and down the line I will tell you why that might be a con for some people, as it was for me. Now, he was talking about the batteries, so let's talk quickly about the battery. The battery that's included in here is pretty bad. It's small and it's nice fitting into the monitor. However, it does not carry a lot of charging. Whenever we used this battery on set, as he said, for the Star Wars thing, it ran out pretty much constantly. So, solution to that, I got these batteries on Amazon, which you can check out in the description. They're a bit bulkier, and they're technically supposed to be for my lights that's set up right there and right there. And as you can see, they're much bulkier, and these do the job way, way, way better. They weigh down the monitor a little bit, so that could be a little con there, but I mean, I haven't had these run out on me as much as this little one has. So definitely something to keep in mind. So you might have to do some further investing into the batteries.
Yeah, as he said, you do have to consider that this is pretty bulky and it definitely adds weight to the camera. And also with the extra bulkier battery, that's gonna be even more weight. So it's gonna be pretty heavy to carry out the camera for, you know, however long your shoot is. And you know, you could get tired. But I do wanna say that he did talk about the monitor itself. This monitor sometimes can be a little bit deceiving when you're looking at the replay of whatever you're shooting. It might look a little bit different than it will look at the end, unlike the monitor. Since it's different quality and it's brighter, it's actually kind of different. So you can't just judge it based off of that. We actually didn't use it for replays as much. We just checked you know, the screen on the camera for that. So
yeah, that definitely is a big minus for this monitor. The true colors are just not it. Maybe I've just not set it up properly, and there is ways to dial back the contrast and stuff, but even when I played around with those numbers, and I technically shouldn't even have to do that in the first place, but the contrast and the image on the LCD screen of my camera is actually more like it's the true viewing, while this one makes things way more dark and way more bright. The contrast is way up on this, and even after knocking it down, it's still a little bit of an issue. So yeah, as he said there, it's not the greatest in that department, and it's not like I should be playing around with those settings. It should just show me what's on my screen. So not very great. Now let's talk quickly about the accessories that were provided. There's a little handle that it's a cold shoe mount, so I don't really use that one. It's a little bit too bulky for my liking, but it's a pretty good one if you'd like to start with one. But I got one of these. You can also check it out in the description. However, I advise not to check it out in the description because this thing sucks. It sucks the most you can possibly think of. Some of the other makes of this may be good, but this specific make, without tightening, I tighten it with my hands and it spins off all the time. It's not great. I'm gonna be investing in a new one of these. The concept of this attachment is great, but this specific attachment sucks. So don't get it, but you can still check it out in the description if you want through the Amazon link. Other than that, the accessories, it provides you some HDMI cables and, you know, nothing else too special.
yeah, I think mostly you're gonna be using this screen if you're doing action shots, and you can't really follow, you know, you can't really follow your camera screen because it's way too small, and you're busy trying to film the people, make sure they're like actually in frame. So you're probably gonna be using this to look at it since it's bigger, and you can eyeball it quicker and see if they're actually in the shot. So you know you're pointing your camera the right direction. Other than that, for replays, you're not really going to be using it unless you got a lot of people and you want everyone to see it, but then you have to let everyone know again that it's not going to look like that on the final screen, on the final, you know, the monitor that the editing is going to be happening on. But I think overall it's a pretty good investment if you're a camera person and you want to get into video or something like that.
Yeah, now let's talk about the actual functionality of the monitor itself and what it provides for you. So it is touchscreen. Very good. I love that. The touchscreen aspect of this is amazing. I can't really imagine a monitor without touchscreen after, you know, purchasing this, other monitors are made like that. So definitely keep that in mind. It has 3 buttons on the top here, 1 button on the side, which is the power button, and then a dial wheel right here. So those are all the controls that you get besides the touchscreen. So now I'm gonna put in the battery and we're gonna see what this offers. Has a safety lock here so the batteries won't fly out. That's pretty good. So you can hold this power button on the side here and it'll turn on the monitor. As you can see, I don't know how well it's showing on the camera. Usually we have this monitor up there.
Yeah, there's the grid.
Yeah, the grid is here, but usually we have the monitor up there, and it's really good for stationary stuff like we're doing right now. This monitor is amazing for that, so if you're even looking to invest into that reason, very big thumbs up there. So now I'll show you these F1, F2, and F3 can be remapped on the monitor to however you want. I'm gonna show you what I have. My F1 control turns on zebras and turns them off. Those are, you know, when something is overexposed, then it'll show me. My F2 turns off my 9 grid, so if I don't want the 9 grid, I'll just hit the button there and it'll turn it off. Pretty handy stuff if you want to see it without, like, if you want to see a clean image. And then F3 is if I want to get real fancy, and it's a waveform. Don't really use this, but if I wanted to, you know, show off that I'm pretending that I'm using the waveforms, which I usually don't, then I can definitely do that. And then if I hit it again, it just turns them off. So pretty handy stuff. Now there's two touch screen controls. On the right hand side, if you go up and down like I'm doing so, it turns on the volume. So this is if you're looking at replays, I'm just dragging up, dragging down, and then I just usually have this on 0. And then on this side, it is the brightness control, which is very handy. All the way up, it gives you, it says backlit and 100, and then all the way down is a 0, well 1 actually. Yeah. Usually I never want it to be on 100 because it just eats up the battery like it's nothing. I usually try and aim it around even 50 or even like 30, and it still works for me. And even in like this scenario, I would probably have it even lower. So not necessarily using all the nits that are available, but I did shoot in complete sunlight. This is one thing that I will tell you guys. In complete sunlight, it was no clouds, and I was using this monitor, and boy did it help me, because I did not see a thing on my camera monitor. And this, I did blast it up, and I did run out of battery in the end, but it did save me because I was able to see what I was shooting. So very, very good stuff in that. And we also put this in a cave in the Star Wars thing. We used it in a cave, so pretty dark. Use it on a pretty low setting there to, you know, conserve the battery. So quite literally put it through different scenarios. Now, it is not waterproof, so I don't use this in the rain, and I have filmed in the rain before. So kind of a minus there. Maybe there's some case for that. Yeah. Another touch control here, and this is where it gets a little bit interesting, is when you tap twice and it pulls up the menu here, and this is pretty much all your controls. You'll be able to see it on the screen right now. The first control, it kind of just gives you a few focus assist, zebra, monochrome, false color. Don't really have any of those on. As I said, the zebra I have on a button. Then the next one is I can turn on the 9 grid here. I can turn on the safety marker here like so. It's pretty much just guidance. I don't usually use these too often, but sometimes I turn them on. Then there's the center marker, marker mat, you know, this is if you're wanting to do like films and you want the black bars to see. Don't usually use that, I just kind of keep that in mind, but there's that. Then you can set your marker color, which I do like. You can do green, blue, white. I just keep mine on green because usually that one is the most unused color for me, so I just keep that on green. The next one is a little bit of a longer menu. There is auto mirror, which I love. If you flip the screen, it will flip. This is amazing, saves a ton of time, so I always have that on. Then, you know, some other features there that I don't really use too much. Then we got the waves. I do usually have the histogram on, however, my camera also has it on and it does display there, so sometimes I turn it off if my camera has it on. Then this is the menu that I was talking about in regards to contrast. Right here, if you scroll up and down, you can dial in the contrast. So as far as I have been using it so far, I was not able to dial it in perfectly, which is not good in my opinion, but it still does the job, so not too bad there. And then finally, there's the settings, you know, some extra settings there for you, 9 grid waves, English language there, volume, and stuff like that. So nothing too crazy, however, a lot of useful features in this that some monitors might not give you. Overall opinions from me, I think it's a pretty good monitor, but it does have limitations. The size is one of them. If you see in the back right there, that is a Ronin S, and I have a special attachment on the Ronin S to put this on, and that attachment and this monitor does not go well together at all, because the monitor is so heavy and I have to run the HDMI cable through it, and it goes from the right and the camera's input is from the left, so it disbalances my stabilizer. So usually I don't chug this on a stabilizer. I'm gonna get another mount and try and play around with it later and see if it works. Probably will work, but with the current setup, don't usually use it. So maybe if I was looking to do more stabilizing things, I would maybe get a smaller monitor, maybe the 5-inch. I personally am looking into possibly getting one, but this one does the job so far for me. What do you think about it?
Yeah, well, if you're like me and you know nothing about cameras, then I don't know why you're still watching this video. But if you're like him and you're very much into cameras, then this is definitely something that you at least have to consider as an investment, or maybe you look at other options instead. As we said, it's around 270 bucks, 260 bucks, around that price range. You could check that out. We're gonna leave something down below for you to click on to just see, you know, what the price is and check it out for yourself, or make a purchase if you want. And I think that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, subscribe down below as well. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.